Hi, students. Star City Middle School. Andrew Hackett's class. I apologize for this taking so long to actually record it. I tried to do it several times in the last week, but the nature of being an activist and online and in the physical world sometimes brings other issues to the front. And so I wasn't able to get to this. I apologize. I hope it's not too late. I hope this is working. I'm having trouble recording as well. You have some really good questions here. So I'm going to do this even if this machine cuts in and out at times. And let's see where we can go. Let me get to your questions. And thanks for doing this. You know, this is really great. This is the kind of thing we want to see. People asking questions. People wanting to know what's going on in the world, especially you young people. So good work, folks. All right, your questions. For personal background, can you tell us a little about your background? Can you tell us about the Black Snake legend? Personal background, sure. I'll give you the thumbnail sketch. I was born Romani Gypsy. My grandmother was a medicine woman for 4 clans in northern Italy and southern Switzerland. They were shepherds. She came to this country when she was a girl and never undertook that again. Actually, she wasn't a girl. She was a young woman then. For me, that's what I was born into. I have been adopted by my Mayan family in Belize, Central America, and adopted by my Lakota family, who are originally out of South Dakota, but now the few that I know that are left are in California. So I'm kind of a mongrel of a lot of different walks, a lot of different cultures. I've spent 35 years working with different indigenous cultures, learning. And so I took an interest, I guess, because of that. The legend of the Black Snake. You know, there's actually a lot of similar legends, but the primary Black Snake legend, you've probably heard this by now, but I'll tell you a brief version, was that when this time came, this time to either repair our earth and ourselves, or to fall into really bad times, that for us to be able to move ahead and repair things, to make a better planet, a healthier planet, we were going to have to cut the head off of a black snake. Well, some elders realized as we got into the Standing Rock issue that this whole oil pipeline thing is in fact a black snake. The pipes across not only our country but around the world carry the black oil, and they are the black snake. The thing is that it's not, according to the elders I talked to and my own understanding, there's not just one black snake. This black snake has a lot of heads. And so we have to cut them all off if we're to move ahead with a more sustainable planet. So there's the prophecy. Present situation. Can you describe the situation at Standing Rock from your own experiences? What are people protesting for? Why are the police and National Guard involved? Yeah, I started in the beginning of this. I started online, virtually, sharing what was going on in Standing Rock. And then I was asked in end of July, very early August, would I please start a Facebook group to do this, because the media were not covering anything at all. And so we started that group. I started that group with my wife. And before you know it started growing rapidly. We got up quickly to about 40,000 people. My wife and I then left and went to Standing Rock. We were there a couple weeks the first time. So we could see firsthand what was going on. We also recorded interviews with a lot of people there, so we could share what is going on in this place. We were in Sacred Stone Camp, the Donna Alwards camp. That's where we stayed. But we visited the main camp, and we visited the smaller camp in between the two to meet with everybody. What are people protesting for? You know, that's a multi-pronged answer. First and foremost, they were protesting not to have the pipeline go through the native lands, and most definitely not to have it go under the rivers. You have to understand that these pipelines do fail. Each and every one of them fails. It's not a matter of will it fail or may it fail. It's a matter of when will it fail. And so to put pipelines like this under major rivers is an absolutely foolish exercise. It's just pure greed that leads to this sort of thing. So some of the people were just protesting to have this pipeline moved. Originally, it was to go by Bismarck, but your predominantly white middle-class culture there didn't want it, so quickly it was moved to native lands, where they assumed, as in the past, no one would say anything, because after all, that's only Native American lands. Well, they made a mistake. And a lot of people stood up and said, you can't do this. But a lot of the other people, as we're doing now with Water is Life movement, which has grown out of Standing Rock, are saying no more pipelines, period. Yes, we have to use what's there for now. We still depend on oil, on gas, and we will for a while. But we do not have to create any new. We can create sustainable energy. If you do your research, students, you'll see there are many countries out there already totally using sustainable energy. This is simply a greed factor by those who want more money and more power. Why are the police and National Guard involved? Well, the police were called in to, quote unquote, monitor this protest. Quickly that changed, and the protesters were being painted as terrorists, as people doing illegal things, so forth and so on. I'm really gratified and amazed that those who are on the front lines protesting remain so peaceful. It's the police who are not peaceful. It's the police who broke the law daily. National Guard were brought in not only from South Dakota, but from other states. What they wanted to do was stop this, but they really didn't know how. And they kept being told by the courts they really couldn't do that. Well, before you knew it, we saw this huge response from around the world, not just indigenous people, but all people. There is a teaching of the four colors, white, black, red, and yellow. That's the colors on the medicine wheel. That represents we humans on the earth, and that those colors represent each one of us. Now, some of us may be a little different color. It's a mix of those. But this was what came to Standing Rock. This is the huge success, in my mind, of Standing Rock. The four colors came together. The whole world watched what's going on. The whole world is still watching, and people around the globe are stepping up and saying that's enough. We will not allow this anymore. It's got to go further than that, but it's a really good start. When I was your age, the police were part of the solution when there was a problem. We were taught as young people, if something's really wrong, go to the police and tell them you need help. Unfortunately, over the years, that has changed. And in my opinion, the police are a big part of the problem, not the solution. That is a sad state of affairs. They no longer serve the people. They serve the very wealthy. They serve those who are controlling, and not the people of this country and other countries as well. Remember, this is not just the United States. This is global. So I hope that answers that a bit. What's the relationship between water protectors and the people who oppose them, like the National Guard, corporate employees, and the police? Another good question. In some places, it's very confrontational. We had a lot of horrific things done to water protectors at Standing Rock. Some still in other places, like Florida, like Flint, Michigan. That's a difficult place to be in. It's hard to stay peaceful when you're being attacked with water hoses, possibly with chemicals, not yet proven, but there seems to be some pretty good proof of that. When you're being attacked by cars, when you're having rubber bullets fired at you, on and on and on. So it's a really difficult situation. It's an us versus them situation. That's not a good place to be in. That's not how we resolve things. But this has just gotten to the point that we're destroying our planet. And so things have changed. I met a young man, about 30 years old, who works for the oil company here in Colorado, where I'm based. And he was telling me how upset he is with the fracking that's going on here. You guys probably know something about fracking and the oil lines. And explaining to me by his own views, by what he's seen and had to do, how horrific this can be. He's looking for other work. He's confused. But he's waking up because he's hearing what's going on. He's seeing what's going on. This is the good part of protesting. Protesting alone will not win this war, and it is a war. Peaceful war, but a war. It requires also prayer, as our elders all said. It requires visioning, what do we want? What can we do? What kind of world do we want? So that, and I did, by the way, see some police, not a lot, but some, change sides in Standing Rock. They turned, walked away, and walked over with the water protectors because they were so disgusted by the completely illegal, immoral acts being performed on the water protectors. So, personal impact. Wow. Why am I personally protesting? Again, I was at Standing Rock some. I just spent 2 months in Florida to work on Water is Life there. But I do a lot of my work here virtually with groups, with people, so everyone gets to hear it. Why did I start? Well, one, because my relatives, my Lakota relatives, asked me to begin this Facebook group, which now has 137,000 people, plus or minus. And so I got involved there. But I also am concerned. I care. My grandchildren are probably your age. I've been worried about them for a long time. What kind of planet will they inherit? It's gotten worse than that. Now I worry about my children. And I even worry about this current generation. Things are so bad, we're at the tipping point. We have got to walk away from fossil fuels. We've got to walk away from inequality. We've got to walk away from all those things that our mechanized, westernized world have created. And I say that not knowing exactly what we have to create, but I know it can't be this. This is not sustainable. I want you guys to have a good planet to walk. I want you to be able to do like I could again when I was your age. I could climb a mountain, I could drink water out of streams. You can't do that now in the highest land. 3% of the water on the planet is now clean enough for drinking. Think about that. 3% is clean without being cleaned or sanitized or whatever else. What has been your experience protesting, and how has it affected your life at home? Another great question. I've protested many things in my life. When I grew up, the Vietnam War was a big thing, and I did protest. I walked with some of the civil rights marchers. I was involved with the women's movements. So I have a long history of that. I've come to realize that the only protesting that will be effective is peaceful protesting. So I'm so glad, once again, that this protest, for the most part, has been peaceful on our side, at least. What effects has it had? My wife and I have walked away from the things we do to make a little bit of money. We're both seniors, as you can see. We're retired, so we have a limited income. We had to walk from that. We've done work pretty much every day on this, especially while this was going on. That huge website took 15 people working it every day just to keep people apprised of what was going on, to let them know what was happening at Standing Rock and other places. Now I'm with groups who are fighting the fight here in Colorado, where fracking is becoming enormous. This new administration we have in Washington is making things much, much worse. It's almost as if they wish to destroy the planet. Their greed is such they can't see beyond that. And so I'm working with folks who are hoping to stop that. Outside help, how are people from around the world helping? And what can we do as middle schoolers? Okay, people from around the world are involved in so many ways now. I was on a conference call today for a few hours. A person from China, a person from Great Britain, a person from the Netherlands, someone from Mexico, myself, and another one from Europe, I forget where. We're a steering committee for a group putting together a large gathering coming up in the next months in either Great Britain or the Netherlands. That's being determined soon. This is a gathering where people are being invited to come. Elders, people like myself, people like you, especially hopefully young people. Finding a way to get there so we can all sit together and talk about what do we want in this world of ours? What will we accept? And so this is an outcome of Standing Rock. There are now camps all over Great Britain. The last count, I believe there were 7 protest camps in Great Britain. There are camps in Australia, New Zealand. This thing is spreading dramatically, and the people around the world are part of that, just as they were helping when we were physically at Standing Rock. You middle schoolers, one thing you can do is do what you're doing here. Pay attention. Read. Ask questions. Get a lot of people like me to tell you what's going on. You don't have to believe everything we say. Check it out. You may agree, you may disagree. But this is how you learn. This is how you share things, and then share them. And not only with your peers, not only with other young people. Go to your parents. Go to your teachers. Go to your churches. Go to your school events. Sometimes when older people hear their children speak, they listen more than they do to some of us. Tell them you're worried. Tell them you're worried about what kind of earth you're going to have when you get older. Tell them you're worried about your children when that time comes. Will you even have children? Will you be able to? Will you be here? Let them know. But then also let them know there's ways to address this. And you want to be part of the solution. Write letters. Encourage people who are of a voting age to vote for candidates who you hope will have a better sympathy for our planet and ourselves. So there's many, many, many things you can do. Don't let age stop you. Nothing should stop any of us. Not being too old, not being too young, not being white, black, red, or yellow, not being male or female, not being big or small, not being rich or poor. This is about all of us, each and every one of us. In the Lakota Matakwiyase, all my relations, that means we're all one. We have to work one as a circle. Not just we humans. It also means the plants, the animals, the rocks, the trees. That's what we have to develop again. A healthy, sustainable way till we move ahead. So great step here. Please keep it up and know that you can make a difference. You are right here. Share this. Share the other things you've heard. Get a hold of me if you want more. Thank you very much. Jim Greywolf Petruzzi for the Water is Life movement. Bye now.